The phone catches a weak signal. A brief message flashes on the screen from the mountains. Need help. Coordinates as follows. We don't know yet who's writing. In frame, a rocky ledge, a backpack at the edge, sharp silence. The question, how does someone end up here alone, gets answered not by a single post, but by a system of decisions that builds over years. Social media feeds buzz with her photos. Sunny smile, sweeping landscapes, Taiwan's peaks. Comments range from awe to mockery. It seems like just bold style and daring image. Then a detail emerges that's easy to miss. Behind the scenes, there's work that changes everything. Who's really behind these photos? An adventurer chasing likes, or someone who's spent years studying trails and pushing limits? We shift from image to practice. Let's break down how this persona was built, what fueled it, and why it all leads to that one point on the map. Meet Gigi Wu. She's known for daring selfies from Taiwan's dangerous peaks. She smiles at the camera while behind her, sheer walls, narrow trails, clouds at her feet. Many find it easier to slap on the label Instagram legend. We look deeper, behind those striking shots. Miles of trails, navigation over rock and ice, discipline and personal history. This contrast makes her a phenomenon, but the system demands more than a pretty picture. Bikini shots become her calling card. Provocation, boldness, a way to tell the world, I'm here, on the edge. The ease of the shot is deceptive. While viewers see the pose, she's calculating the route, weather window, pack weight. Every campsite is a small logistical victory. And here's the question that matters more than likes. How does the habit form of going where others fear to tread? Gigi's story isn't about glamour. It's a way to quiet inner storms, find footing in roots and summits. She opens Taiwan to thousands of people, shows wild trails as if inviting them on a journey. Society debates, where's the line between personal freedom and risk? There's no simple answer, yet there's a nuance that changes the story's course. 4 days in, Alex Yang's screen lights up. Gigi's calling, voice tense but composed. She's fallen from a rocky ledge, needs help. Alex acts like a rescue operator, asks for coordinates, confirms elevation markers, checks communication status. He passes the data to authorities. Helicopters prepare for takeoff, but cloud cover is low. Wind is choppy. On the map, a thin thread of trail, steep drops nearby. The search launches. Now, to the moment where everything gets decided. To understand this call, let's step back. It'll make things clearer. In 2014, she's going through a rough patch. Losing someone close, difficult family decisions, turning down a move to China. How do you keep your balance? Gigi chooses the mountains. Trails become routine and breathing. Here she meets Alex Yang. They discuss routes, share waypoints, compare gear. Step by step, the feeling of control returns. But why does her feed only show bright photos? The answer lies in how she runs her pages. Short captions, honest notes about weather, trails, windows for crossings. In the shots, laughing Gigi on Taiwan's peaks. The reaction is mixed, wonder and criticism side by side. The Insta-heroine label overshadows the real work. She responds with safety posts, breaks down mistakes, shows the kitchen of hiking, pack weight, weather windows, pace control. Her voice becomes clearer. I share, but I don't encourage copying without preparation. And then, more. How do you really test yourself? Gigi chooses the 100 Peaks of Taiwan list. This isn't a photo report, it's a system. Routes of varying difficulty, changing seasons, resupplies, accounting for water and time. She marks points on the map, records elevations, saves energy for key sections, mountain by mountain. And in 2016, the list is complete. We're looking at someone of project and discipline, but success raises the bar of expectations and responsibility. Society splits into camps. Some see inspiration and a new guide to Taiwan's mountains. Others criticize the style and publicity, fearing someone will follow without preparation. The debate shifts to the main point: restrictions or education. What works better? And here emerges the dilemma of safety culture. Why post tracks and crossing details? For her, it's an honest way to show the path, with ascents, rest stops, difficult spots. She shares route threads, timing, notes about elevation changes and water points. The page becomes a living guidebook. But openness is also responsibility. The more precise the information, the higher the preparation bar. With this baggage, on to new goals. What's next after 100 peaks? For Gigi, the plan isn't a finish line, but a springboard. New goal, complete all 268 mountains of Taiwan. Maps stack in layers, tracks connect into long threads, weather windows are scheduled by seasons. The first aid kit of solutions expands. Backup exits, water points, camping spots. The project grows to national scale, not a list, but a grand ring of trails. And this is where survival rules become stricter. She often goes alone. This means no shoulder nearby. Every detail matters. Strict checklists before starting, weight control, pace discipline. On routes, iced rocks, old ropes on slopes, bridges after downpours. She learns to tell herself, stop, turn around, patiently wait for a clear window. Solo style becomes a system where improvisation rests on preparation. But even perfect systems have limits. In December 2018, she meets John Sloan. How do you cover long distances without burning out? John looks at the gear and suggests optimization. Fewer backups, compact tent, warm but light layer, rational cooking kit, careful packing. Grams disappear, safety remains. The pack loses weight, route mathematics becomes more precise. With these insights, into January 2019, on January 11th, 2019, a 2-week crossing through Yushin National Park begins. The schedule includes daily windows for passes, backup campsites, strict time accounting. The pack is lighter, but weather's unstable. Low clouds, ice, wet rock. She goes anyway. Economical steps, coordinate checks, every few hours. Then the path turns toward a historic trail. And there waits a fork. The route includes an old historic trail and the temptation of a shortcut through a closed branch. Need to check markers, descriptions, set a time limit for the maneuver. Terrain is frozen, side scree unstable, overhanging rocks eat visibility. Simple rule, if doubtful, turn back. But terrain dictates its own corrections. Several sections prove more complex than on the map. Need a safe platform to reassess the plan. This is where the perfect schedule starts to crack. 3 factors converge: wet gloves, icy ledge, and fog. She slows down, looks for a shelf to rest, checks communication. At the moment of crossing a narrow edge, her foot slips. Fall to the lower tier of rocks, bruises. Phone catches weak signal, brief text to Alex. Coordinates, short description of condition, request for help. SOS sent. Flashlight and satellite device at hand. She conserves heat and energy. What follows? A race against time. Clouds hang low, airflow is choppy, visibility jumps. Pilots circle the area, searching for a platform at least for winch work. Several approaches, coordinate checks, wind verification at ledges. Landing and descent too risky. Crews retreat to wait for a window. How to reach from below without losing hours. Fire service and local guides take minimal gear, ropes, warm layers, communication, and head out on foot. They divide the route into stages, mark control points, secure each other on scree and icy traverses. Communication, on schedule, brief reports. Pace isn't high, but steady. The group climbs toward the planned campsite zone. Will the map match the terrain? Altitude reached, but almost no trace of a campsite. Wind has licked clean the snow, fog devours landmarks. Guides comb the ledges, search for indirect signs, tracks at the edge, crampon marks on stone. They expand the sector, set up temporary bivouac. No direct contact. The ground team continues searching in a Christmas tree pattern. Helicopters wait for clearing. Morning might give a brief chance. Darkness thickens. On a narrow ledge, rescuers find equipment and a motionless woman. They secure the point, assess terrain, check coordinates against those Gigi sent. Location confirmed. Direct access at night too dangerous. Decision. Prepare approach with first light. Here emerges the dilemma, speed or team safety. By tracks on the rock and nature of the stop, they estimate fall distance, about 30 meters. There are signs that after impact she held on for some time. Nearby lies part of the gear, flashlight. Earlier communication had worked. Chance for evacuation exists, but conditions don't allow immediate action. Decision. Wait for a window and approach safely. Dawn gives a chance. Fog tears into strips. Wind calms to tolerable. Rescuers set additional points, check knots, descend on fixed ropes to the ledge. Every step is discussed. They call by name, examine the platform, stones dry, almost no shelter, cold, bites. By protocol, they record coordinates, time, condition. Help arrives too late, no response. Team prepares careful ascent and evacuation without risk to the group. What do the things nearby suggest? At the edge, backpack secured by strap from gusts. Nearby, satellite phone in quick access zone, flashlight with dimming light. Inside, insulating layer, light wind protection, compact first aid, quick calories. On the ledge itself, pad to cut cold from stone. Everything laid out logically, communication, at hand, warmth, closer to body, excess, minimal. Until the end, order and chance. But why didn't the plan work? A chain of factors triggers. Injuries limit mobility, meaning less heat from movement. Night is long, wind blows away remaining heat from the exposed ledge. Altitude and fatigue amplify cooling. In severe cold, there's a known phenomenon. Subjectively, it seems hot to a person, and they loosen protection, losing final reserves. Plus, mismatch of weather windows. Helicopter ready, but sky gives too short an interval. Solo, the time reserve melts faster than rescuers arrive. What follows? Only lessons. Feeds and forums boil. Some call her an example of discipline, someone who opened thousands of views to Taiwan's wild trails. Others see attention-seeking and risk that might push the unprepared. They discuss responsibility of public figures, ethics of showcase shots, preparation culture, and mountain rules. The story is multi-layered. Each layer has its own motives and consequences. Officials join the debate. On a wave of pressure comes a harsh proposal. Fine the athlete's mother. The agenda instantly splits. Lawyers, mountain clubs, and volunteers explain that punishing family won't make routes safer or teach beginners basic rules. Alternatives come into focus. Educational programs, marking difficult sections, supporting rescuers, clear gear, and weather window recommendations. Eventually, the initiative fades. Conversation shifts from finding blame to reducing risk systemically. A year later, authorities take an important step. Restrictions on forest and mountain access are lifted. Logic changes. Instead of total bans, people get tools. Updated recommendations appear. Route classification by difficulty, gear checklists, turnaround point, reminders, services with weather windows, and warnings about landslides and icing. Information becomes clearer, responsibility more conscious. Simple meaning, teach proper walking, don't close doors. Was she a glamorous feed heroine? No. Gigi tackles complex route threads, prepares exits, maintains discipline, bright shots. The language she speaks to the world, not a replacement for skills. Where exactly did the system fail? Solo format plus heavy pack on winter terrain. A combination that doesn't forgive delays. Add fatigue, slippery edges, fog, and temptation of a shortcut through closed branch. Time reserve melts. Practical conclusion. Partner nearby, lighten gear without excess. Strict turnaround point. Constant communication and heat reserve. Not options, but rules. Where's your personal boundary between freedom and safety on the route? Write in comments 3 rules you never break. We'll compile a common list, from pre-start checklists to turnaround points always remembered. If this format resonates with you, support the channel. Your comments, subscription, and reposts help make new deep analyses about mountains and wilderness. Thanks for being with us.